So from this session onwards, I will start the network layer chapter. Soon I will start. Very soon I will start. So let me start the recording first. So recording started. Now let me focus on the presentation. So up till now we have discussed chapter number 1, introduction, in which we have already discussed how the MAC addresses are assigned, how the IP addresses are assigned, and how the port addresses are assigned. And I think you have the idea about the port address as well. So before we discuss further, before I start the session related with the network layer chapter, I have one query in my mind and I want, or I am seeking answer from your side. Application layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. If you consider these 5 layers, then the point is application layer to transport layer communication. If you consider the communication between application layer and transport layer, then how this communication is established. So my question is how this communication is established. It means application layer has to communicate with the transport layer. Communication is required between application layer and transport layer. So can you explain me that how the communication occurs and how the transport layer communicates with the application layer, how application layer communicates with the transport layer. If you consider sender, then at sender side application layer communicates with the transport layer, and at receiver side transport layer communicates with the application layer. Okay, so at sender side application to transport layer communication, and at receiver side transport layer to application layer communication is there. The point is how this communication is established, because you can consider the case where from a normal PC, from a single computer, it is possible that you can access multiple services. Like in my computer, I am accessing Gmail. At the same time, I am accessing Microsoft Teams. At the same time, it is possible that I can use some other services. So my computer, in my computer, at my side, I am using TCP/IP protocol stack. So if I am using TCP/IP protocol stack, it means I am using application layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. And at application layer, I am using Gmail, I am using Microsoft Teams, I am using some other services. So from a single machine, if you are accessing from a single computer, from a single PC, if you are accessing multiple services, then how those services will be integrated with the TCP/IP protocol? How we can integrate all these services? Because you all know very well, if you are accessing Gmail, in the backend it has to use TCP/IP. If you are accessing Microsoft Teams, in the backend it has to use TCP/IP, because all these are the communication services. And if these are the communication services, then they have to use protocol, and they are using TCP/IP protocol. So the point is, if I am accessing Gmail, if I am accessing Microsoft Teams, if I am accessing google.com, then in all these cases, how application layer communicates with the transport layer? This is my question. And I think we have already discussed the port address, and you are aware that how the source port address and how the destination port address is assigned. And without using port address, you cannot access Gmail. Without using port address, you cannot access Microsoft Teams. Without using port address, you cannot access any of the communications related services. So the point is how application layer communicates with the transport layer. So do you have any idea about it? Can you tell me, can you inform me, can you explain me how the communication between application layer and transport layer is established? Please, if you have any input, if you have any idea about the question which I have asked, then you can provide your input. And then after we will start the discussion of the network layer chapter. As I have said earlier, from this session onwards, I am going to start the network layer chapter. But before we go and discuss, before we go for the discussion of the network layer chapter, the idea about the communication and communication between application layer and transport layer should be clear to everyone. And you know that at sender side TCP/IP follows top to bottom approach, and at receiver side TCP/IP follows bottom to top approach. So at sender side application layer has to communicate with the transport layer, and at receiver side transport layer has to communicate with the application layer, reverse process. But the question is how the application layer communicates with the transport layer. And please write this point in your notebook. I used to inform in each and every session that you have to keep notebook and pen with you, because some of the points which we are discussing, those points are not available in the presentation. Those points are not explicitly they are mentioned. They are not explicitly written in the book, textbook. So please listen me carefully. Please listen me carefully. If I say that multiplexing and demultiplexing is exist between application layer and transport layer, then this statement is correct. So please write this statement in your notebook. Multiplexing and demultiplexing is exist between application layer and transport layer. Multiplexing and demultiplexing exist between application layer and transport layer. Let me repeat one more time. Multiplexing and demultiplexing exist between application layer and transport layer. So multiplexing, which you have learned in the data communication and network course during third semester, this multiplexing is totally different. Okay, the multiplexing which you have learned in DCN subject, it is related with the physical layer, multiplexing and demultiplexing. Okay, you have learned, you have already learned, you have the idea. Multiplexing, it means many to one communication, and demultiplexing, it means one to many communication. So the important point is multiplexing and demultiplexing exist between application layer and transport layer. If I say that this statement is correct, this statement is true, then do you have any justification available for this? Can you justify this statement? Multiplexing and demultiplexing exist between application layer and transport layer. Many of you are, or many of you have some confusion. Many of you are confused. Why it is said that multiplexing is related? How the multiplexing is exist between application layer and transport layer? Because multiplexing is the concept of the physical layer, and this is correct also. Multiplexing is applicable to hardware, as well as multiplexing is also applicable to software processes. So now please listen me carefully. If I use Gmail, then to access the Gmail, to access the web-based mail, you have to use simple mail transport protocol at the application layer. Next is, if you are using google.com, if you are accessing google.com and in the web browser you have typed www.google.com, then to access the google.com, you have to use HTTP protocol. So for Gmail, you are using SMTP protocol. For google.com, you are using HTTP protocol. And for the other services which you are using, which you are accessing right now in your computer, you are using some different protocols. So you have to use multiple protocols simultaneously. Actually, their execution will be concurrently, but it is possible to use multiple protocols at the same time. So if you are accessing multiple protocols, then how these protocols are related with the TCP/IP, and how these protocols they are helping in terms of establishing the communication. So if multiplexing is many to one and if demultiplexing is one to many, then how we can associate this term multiplexing and demultiplexing with TCP/IP protocol stack? So do you have any idea about how we can relate multiplexing and demultiplexing with application layer and transport layer? If possible, then provide your input very quickly so that we can start the next chapter, that is network layer chapter. So without wasting time, if you have any input, you can consider the case of accessing Gmail, accessing google.com, accessing some other services. For this, I have already said that you have to use multiple protocols. So how those multiple protocols are associated with TCP/IP? How these protocols are associated with TCP/IP and how the multiplexing is exist between application layer and transport layer. And let me provide you one more hint. At the sender side, multiplexing is exist, and at the receiver side, demultiplexing is exist between application layer and transport layer. And if you refer the book written by Forozan or Tenenbaum related with computer network, then they have mentioned this in their book. Application layer to transport layer communication at sender side requires multiplexing concept, and at receiver side application layer and transport layer are using demultiplexing concept. So do you have any idea about what is multiplexing and demultiplexing between application layer and transport layer? Think about the protocols which are available at the transport layer. So at transport layer, either you have to use TCP or you have to use UDP. Okay, transmission control protocol is available at the transport layer, and user datagram protocol is also available at the transport layer. So at application layer, you have multiple options. You can use SMTP, you can use HTTP, you can use Telnet, you can use DNS, you can use FTP, TFTP. There are multiple protocols available at the application layer, but at the transport layer you have only two options. One is TCP and second is a UDP. And majority of the protocols which are working at the application layer, they are using TCP at the transport layer. Consider the case of HTTP, consider the case of SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. These are the protocols, and apart from this there are many other protocols which are using TCP at the transport layer. They will not prefer to go with UDP because UDP protocol is unreliable protocol and TCP protocol is a reliable protocol. So majority of the protocols are using TCP at the transport layer. Majority of them are using TCP at the transport layer. So what do you think how the multiplexing and demultiplexing exist between application layer and transport layer? Do you have any idea about it? Now I think it is clear to everyone that how the communication which is going on between application layer and transport layer can be considered as many to one communication. How the communication which is going on between transport layer and application layer at the receiver side, how we can consider it as one to many communication. So many to one at sender side and one to many at receiver side. Please relate this. Please relate this with TCP IP. Okay, so one input is provided by De Joshi and the input is multiple processes are running on application layer. So in transport layer converts those processes into single channel and receiver side that single channel is divided and assigned to specific processes. Okay, specific port number and IP addresses. Okay, so the answer provided by they is correct, but it is correct up to some extent. Still, we have to go into the details to provide the answer about how multiplexing and demultiplexing is associated with application layer and transport layer. So now let me consider the case of using Gmail and Google. Okay, I'm accessing gmail.com and I'm accessing google.com. So in my computer, okay, I'm accessing gmail.com from my PC and I'm accessing google.com from my PC. So at application layer in my computer, I have to use SMTP and HTTP. Okay, I am using right now SMTP and HTTP. As I have said earlier, SMTP, if you want to access the email, then SMTP and HTTP, they are using TCP protocol at the transport layer. They are using TCP protocol at the transport layer. So SMTP and HTTP, these two protocols are working at the application layer in my computer, but at the transport layer they are communicating with the TCP protocol. So there is only one option which is available at the transport layer, and it is TCP only. In my PC I am accessing Gmail and I am accessing Google. So it my computer side in my machine, SMTP and HTTP, these two protocols are active at the application layer, and SMTP and HTTP, they are sending data to TCP at my transport layer, because at my transport layer these two protocols, they have to use TCP only and they are using TCP. So SMTP to TCP communication is going on and HTTP to TCP communication is going on. So we can say that Many to one communication is exist in my machine. Many it means SMTP and HTTP, and one it means TCP. So these two protocols are communicating with a common protocol TCP. So this is many to one communication. I am sender. I have initiated the communication. And at receiver side, it is possible that transport layer receives the data first, and then transport layer will distribute the data according to the application layer protocol. So at receiver side, transport layer communicates with the, or transport layer will forward data to HTTP. Transport layer will forward data to SMTP. So at sender side, application layer is sending data to transport layer, and at receiver side, transport layer is sending data to application layer. So we can say that at sender side, many to one communication is going on, and at receiver side, one to many communication is going on. Now can you explain me the existence of multiplexing at application layer and transport layer, how they are, or how this concept is exist between application layer and transport layer? I hope that now it is clear to everyone. Many to one, how it is related with sender, and one to many, how it is related with receiver. At sender side, multiple protocols are communicating with TCP, and at receiver side, TCP is communicating with multiple protocols, and the examples are SMTP, HTTP, FTP, and so on. So at sender side, many to one communication is going on, and at receiver side, one to many communication is going on between application layer and transport layer. And this is the reason behind using this term multiplexing with application layer and transport layer. So now if you have any question, any query related with the existence of multiplexing and demultiplexing at the transport layer and application layer, then you can ask me. If you have any query, any doubt how multiplexing is associated with application layer and transport layer, and how demultiplexing is associated with transport layer and application layer, then you can ask me. And please remember, this multiplexing is totally different than the multiplexing which is exist at the physical layer and at the hardware level. Okay, this is the process level multiplexing. HTTP process, SMTP process, these two processes are communicating with a common process. Its name is TCP. So many processes are communicating with a single process. It is the case of the sender. SMTP and HTTP processes are communicating with the TCP process, and at the receiver side, TCP process is communicating with the HTTP and SMTP process. So many processes are communicating with a common process, and that common process is communicating with the many processes. This is known as multiplexing and demultiplexing. Yes, please. Do you have any input? Do you have any question? So are you getting this or not? Is it clear to everyone? How we can relate multiplexing and demultiplexing? Yes, please. Please acknowledge. Yes. Please acknowledge. Is it clear to everyone how multiplex? Okay. Okay. So now let me start the network layer chapter. So in the network layer chapter, IP protocol, internet protocol works at the network layer. So in TCP/IP protocol stack, at application layer, we have seen that we can use HTTP, SMTP, FTP, Telnet, and so on. At the transport layer, we have to use TCP or UDP. At the network layer, we have IP and ARP protocol as well as RARP protocol, but IP protocol is the major protocol which works at the network layer. So now let me start the discussion of the network layer chapter. So network layer design issues. If we start with the network layer design issues, then in TCP/IP protocol stack, the first design issue which is associated with the network layer is services provided to the transport layer. And second network layer design issue is internal design of subnet. So internal design of the network. This is again the design issue, but network layer, if you consider network layer, then network layer is associated with the transport layer and data link layer. So network layer has to communicate the transport layer. It has to communicate with the transport layer because you have the idea that in TCP/IP protocol stack we have application layer, transport layer, then network layer. So network layer has to communicate with the upper layer and it is transport layer. So how the communication can be established? How IP can communicate with the TCP? How IP can communicate with the UDP? This is one of the design issue which is there at the network layer. And second design issue is internal design of the subnetwork, internal design of the network. So internal design, it means you can follow star topology, you can follow ring topology, bus topology, different variants of topologies are there. So for different types of topology, network layer has to act differently, network layer has to work differently. So these are the design issues of the network layer. Now in network layer, if you consider the router, okay, in the topology which is available on your screen, router A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, there are 6 routers which are available. 6 routers are available on your screen in the topology which is shown to you. 2 host computers are there, H1 and H2. So host computer is running process P1 and host computer 2, H2, is running process P2. So we should not worry about the processes which are running by host computer 1 and host computer 2. The important thing which is shown over here is router A, B, C, D, E, and F. They are following store and forward switching mechanism. So they will store the incoming packet first, and then based on the routing table which is available in the router, they used to forward the packet. Okay, they used to forward the packet. So first the packet it is getting stored, and then the packet is forwarded. Now if you consider the design issue number 1, that is services provided to the transport layer. Right now we are discussing network layer chapter. I have started network layer chapter, and this question can be asked in the exam. Services provided to the transport layer, what are the goals? How the network layer is providing the services to the transport layer, and for this network layer has set some goal, and those goals are: the first goal is services should be independent of the router technology. So whether you are using the routers which are manufactured by Cisco, whether you are using the routers which are manufactured by Linksys or any other organization, those who have developed the router, those who have manufactured the router. So network layer services, whatever the services which are provided by the network layer, you all know very well, there are two major functions of the network layer. And those two functions are network layer establishes logical connection and network layer assigns source IP address and destination IP address. Network layer assigns source IP and destination IP, and network layer establishes logical connection. Logical connection, it means IP to IP connection or source IP to destination IP connection. So to provide this service, the first goal is the services provided by the network layer should be independent of the router technology. So router technology, you can use any of the router, but the services, the rules which are followed by the network layer, those rules should be followed properly. It should be independent of the router technology. Second goal of the network layer is transport layer should be shielded from the number, type and topology of the routers which are present. So transport layer, it is the layer which deals with the port address. It is the layer which deals with the process we have seen earlier. So transport layer, it has nothing to do with routers which are available. So it is possible that in one topology you may have 6 routers available. It is possible that in one topology you may have 2 routers available, 1 router available, any number of routers can be present in the topology. So transport layer, it should function, it should work as per the rules which are defined for the transport layer, and it should work without having the knowledge. It should work properly without having the knowledge about numbers of routers which are there. So transport layer's role is to forward the packet or forward the data to the network layer. And here I want to make one comment, and I want to provide you one comment, and that comment is application layer forwards the data to the transport layer. Think about the sender. Application layer forwards the data to the transport layer. Transport layer appends header and data of the application layer remains as it is. So it transport layer header and data is available. Now the transport layer forwards this to the network layer. Network layer adds its own header. So at network layer you have network layer header plus transport layer header plus data. So as and when the data passes through the layer, those layers are appending the header. So the point is, at transport layer header plus data is present, and this combination is known as a segment. At network layer header plus transport layer header plus data is available. This combination is known as a packet. So at transport layer, the communication unit is a segment. At network layer, the communication unit is a packet, and at data link layer, the communication unit is a frame. So whenever you are explaining the network layer, you have to speak about packets only. Network layer deals with packets, transport layer deals with segments, and data link layer deals with what? Frame. Now the third goal which is set by the network layer is network addresses made available to transport layer should use uniform numbering plan even across LANs and WANs. So network addresses made available to the transport layer, it means IP addresses should be made available to the transport layer, and it should use uniform numbering plan even across lanes and WAN. So uniform numbering plan, it means whenever you are designing a network, you have to assign the IP addresses by following proper class of IP address, by following proper network address. So whatever the network addresses which you are assigning, it should follow some uniform numbering plan. Okay, randomly you cannot assign the IP address across LAN or across WAN. You have to follow some uniform numbering plan. So uniform numbering plan, it means if you consider the case of our campus, Charusat campus, then for DevStar, they are using some common network address. Vincel department is using some common network address. For CSPIT or for other colleges, they are using some other network addresses, IP addresses. It means they have the knowledge, Vincel department, who is responsible for establishing the connection, who is responsible for creating the network. That Vincel department has the design document ready with them, in which they have the idea about what are the IP addresses which are assigned to DevStar, what are the IP addresses which are assigned to CSPIT, what are the IP addresses which are assigned to other institutes. So uniform numbering plan should be there, and whatever the information which is available at the network layer, that information should be made available to the transport layer, because you know very well, at sender side, transport layer is forwarding the data to the network layer because top to bottom communication is there. But at receiver side, network layer, network layer is communicating with the transport layer. So at receiver side, network layer has to pass on the information to the transport layer. So transport to network layer and network layer to transport layer communication exists, it is there. So these are the three design goals. These are the three important statements related with the network layer. So how the network layer is taking care while dealing with the transport layer. So some goals are set and network layer tries to meet the requirement which is set by the network layer. Now, if we talk about the communication, then communication can be connection oriented communication or it can be connection less communication. Okay, there are two different types of communications which are exist. One is connection oriented communication and second one is a connection less communication. So how we can implement the connection less service, that I will explain in the next session. But whatever the points which we have discussed today related with the network layer, the goals of the network layer, store and forward switching of the network layer, and then network layer design issues. So we have to be careful about what do you mean by store and forward switching. We have to follow we have to remember the network layer design issues, and then the important point is goals of the network layer in the context of the transport layer. These three goals, it should be clear in your mind. Now from your side, first of all, let me mark the attendance. Please wait. Let me mark the attendance. So once the attendance is marked, then after we'll have a question answer session. In the question answer session, we will discuss about or related with the doubts which are there in your mind. So just a minute, please wait. Okay. So your attendance is marked and still we have the time of 5 minutes. So within the next 5 minutes, you can discuss with me related with the points which we have or which I have discussed. So I have started the session. I have started the session with the existence of multiplexing between application layer and transport layer. So in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to provide you the summary, the internal notes or the notes which will help you to prepare yourself. So now we have completed the discussion about the communication between application layer and transport layer, and then we have discussed about the network layer. So now from your side, if you have any question, any query related with the points which we have discussed today, then you can ask me. Multiplexing, it means many to one communication, it is exist. It is exist between application layer and transport layer because SMTP, HTTP, I have provided you the example. Okay, if I am using Gmail and if at the same time if I am accessing google.com, then these two protocol SMTP and HTTP, they have to communicate with TCP at the sender side, and at the receiver side TCP communicates with SMTP and HTTP. So many to one is exist and one to many communication is also exist. So this is multiplexing and demultiplexing. Then we have discussed the design goals of the network layer. So network layer should provide appropriate service, proper services to the transport layer, and if the proper services are provided, then and then you can work with TCP/IP protocol properly. And then the most important point which we have learned today, please listen me carefully and you can write this point in your notebook as well. The most important point, the most important statement is at the transport layer, the contents available at the transport layer is known as a segment. The contents available at the network layer is known as a packet, and the contents which are available at the data link layer is known as a frame. So segment is a different unit, packet is a different unit, and frame is a different unit. So whenever you are explaining the network layer, you have to speak, you have to write about the packets. Whenever you are explaining the transport layer, you have to write about the segment. And whenever you are explaining the data link layer, at that time you have to write about frames. Okay. So with this note, now I have also completed the, or I have provided you the summary of this session. Now from your side, if you have anything to ask, you can ask me the question or you can type the question in the chat. I will read it and then I will provide you the answer. So do you have any question? Yes. If any question is there, then please speak loudly. Check the connection. Increase the volume and then ask me the question. Because right now I'm not able to listen anyone. And right now I'm assuming that there are no further questions. So do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for joining this session. I have already marked your attendance. Now you can leave.